we can call it as multi paradigm programming. So Python is I think many people call it as Python as a multi paradigm programming. It's why this particular thing is why we call this Python as like that means because it supports different programming. So whatever the approach I try to do, those particulars, it's a more flexible actually. Okay, so one such popular approach, okay, one popular approach to solve a programming problem. So it's some kind of a program problem is called as a creating the object. So creating object is one particular approach in Python. Okay, so creating an object. Okay, creating an object or objects, whatever it may become more than one also, and is called as what you mean by object oriented programming is creating a particular object to solve a particular problem. A programming problem. Programming, okay. Solving problem, creating an object is called as your object oriented program. This is called as the whole thing. This thing we call it as object oriented programming. This is called as object oriented programming. Now, when you speak of this particular object oriented programming, so we need to look at what are the different characteristics actually of this particular object oriented programming. So if you closely observe what are the different characteristics of it, so characteristics of hoops concept. It is not only common with Python, it can be for anything. Okay, so hoops means actually it is nothing but hoops means is object. We call it as object. Okay, what is actually the first one is your creation of attributes, and the second one is the behavior. So your Python objective programming or your what is called as your OOPS is characterized by this two characteristics. One is your attribute and other is this particular thing. Say for example, let's take an example and try to understand what is an attribute. Okay, so let's take an example and try to understand. Say for example, I have an animal. Okay, I have an animal. Okay, how you identify the animal? Okay, say for example, you have a dog or you have a cat at your home. So how can I identify this animal? So animal is identified. Say you have a dog at home. So maybe let's take it as dog is your pet dog. Okay, I have a pet dog. How will you identify actually? You might have kept a name for it. Okay, you might have kept a name for it. It may be of a particular color, some kind of a white with some brownish, all those things and all. So these are something, or so name, color, or it may be of a particular breed. Okay, it may be a particular breed. So this is your attribute. So this is your, we call it as attribute. So what is it actually? It's one of the characters. So it has a particular name, a peculiar name. It may be a particular peculiar color, or it may be a particular breed, or maybe human beings itself. So those people who are Asians actually, so they may be, or the people who are staying in Karnataka, or maybe from a particular region, or North Indian, or Bihar. So they're all having a particular name, particular whatever maybe the color, all those things. So we can, so these are called as attribute. Now, when you speak of what they are doing, okay, what they are doing. So now, if you take the dog itself, dog will bark. Okay, dog will bark. Sometimes dog may jump. It may jump a particular height or whatever it may be. So this is its behavior. Okay, so attributes means what it possesses, so name or whatever it may be. So what it is doing, it's its behavior. So here maybe a human being itself. Say one particular person is very good in singing. Okay, we call him as a singer. Say other person is, he might be having a name, color, whatever. He may be good at dancing, or he may be good at doing some kind of a particular work. Maybe he is good at kind of an artwork. Okay, so you can identify these people by what they are and what they are doing. So the concept is the same concept we are applying in your Python. Okay, that means the concept of this OOP is nothing but in Python. So I'm going to use this particular thing as create a particular code, particular program, which will see this concept is nothing but we call it. I think some of the books actually they call this as don't repeat yourself, dry code. Actually, they call it as a dry code. That means once you are written, don't repeat it again. Okay, the concept of this particular concept, the concept of this OOP actually in Python. So it focuses on what actually creating a reusable program or a code. What is it actually? That means you should not repeat it again. So that means don't repeat it again. Repeat it again. Few books they call it as don't repeat yourself, dry code and all, but so it should not repeat itself. Okay. Now, when you try to apply the same principle and create it, actually, we get what is called as a class. Okay. Nothing but the first and the foremost thing what you're going to get is the class in your Python. What is a class? See, it is, see, say for example, let me try to give a little bit away from your programming example. Say I want to build an house. Okay, I want to build an house. What I will do? I'll prepare a plan. Okay, I will prepare a plan. We call that as a blueprint plan or whatever it may be. I'm going to create a plan. So where I want to put my kitchen, where I want to put my living room, where I want to put my dining hall. So all those things I'm going to put it as. So that is called as your class. So what is this class? A class is a blueprint. It is a blueprint for the object which you are creating. So I will have a methodology or I will have that particular thing. So if you have a blueprint, based on looking at my blueprint, I can construct a house. Okay, looking at your plan, I can construct the house. So now in a similar fashion, if I want to create an object or if I want to create an OOP concept, if I want to do it actually, I have to create a blueprint actually. What is this blueprint actually? Blueprint is nothing but it's a sketch with some kind of a label. Okay. What is that label? Something like, say, for example, you might have seen in front of the house, you might be having a name of a particular person. What is he doing? Say, if you go and see, for example, some of the ministers, so outside you can see at the gate they will put. So the name is XYZ, Honorable Minister for Education, or something like that. You're going to see. What is it actually? It gives the details actually. So we're talking about labeling. Okay, when you are labeling, what is it actually? It clearly gives the name. So what is he? So what type of minister is he? Or is whether is a central government minister or a state government minister, something like that. So that is something about what is actually, it is a description defining that particular thing. So when we think of a class actually, it's a sketch, it's a blueprint of that particular object with some kind of a description. That means I can call it as, so class is defined by some kind of a description. I have to define it. I have to define it actually. It's a description. So what is described? Description in the form of labels. Okay, in the form of labels. What is it actually? Labels means giving definition. Labels means giving some kind of definitions to describe. I call it as describe. I need to describe it. Say for example, I have to, how usually this is defined in your program actually. Say for example, I want to define class, say I want to define an animal. So class dog. Okay, class dog with a colon. So here class is the keyword. Look at this. The class is the keyword to define any class. See, class is this is the keyword to define your, this is your object. It can be anything. See, from the class, see, what I'm trying to do here actually, I'm trying to create an instance, one instance of dog. So an instance of specific object, that is your specific object is your dog with a particular class. Okay, this is your class. Okay, now as I told, object is an instance. That is your dog, what I have created, it's an instrument. It's an instance actually. So now I have created this object. Then now when the class is defined, the description of the object is also automatically defined. That's the meaning of it. Okay. Now, so what is it actually what I'm going to do? If I want to define the object, I will define something like this. Object is equal to dog like this. Okay. See here, object is an object of this particular class. Look at this. See, I'm trying to define this object. This is defined as an object of already defined class. See, this is called as example of, this is an example what I'm trying to show. Example of the object, what I have defined as the dog. So it's a dog class actually. It can be anything, just I'm giving some very simple example, that's it. So just I'm trying to give an example. So now, see, look at this particular thing. Now I defined why the dog, actually I have given the details of it. So what are the details? See, it may be a particular name, it may be a particular breed, it may be a particular color. Or it may be based on behavior, what it is doing. So it may be something like it can jump a particular thing, it can do a long jump of 3 feet or 4 feet or whatever, 1 meter or so. And it can bark in a particular, maybe it can bark to a particular pitch, or we call it a decibels. So all it clearly shows its behavior. So now, when I try to build a class and then to create an object from it, they are interdisciplinary. Okay, they are all interdependent. Now, I will try to show you a simple code on the Python code, how this particular thing works actually. Okay, how this particular thing, how creating a, so let me show a simple example so that it takes some time for you to understand. Okay, let me show you a simple example to understand the creating, okay, creating the class and object in your Python. Okay, creating a class and the object. Say for example, so let me think of a particular maybe species of birds or whatever it may be. Think of it. So let's think of sparrow or parrot or maybe something. So let's think of a crow. Okay. Let me write a simple code for it. Say class crow. Okay, class crow is what it is actually. Now, what it is actually, it belongs to a particular species. What is it actually? It may be a bird species. So, I'm going to create the attribute. Let me create that. It is your class. I'm creating an attribute. What is it actually? It defines a species of a bird. Okay. Now, I'm going to define its behavior. So, what is it? You define its attribute. How we are going to define it actually? Say, let me define this particular thing. Say, I'm going to define it. Okay. Let me call it as underscore. So, it's, let me call that particular thing. It's a, I'm going to define it. It's a self actually, self function I'm going to use. So it's name and some age. Okay. Now I'm going to define it actually. So it is self dot name is equal to its name. Maybe its age. Let me define self dot age is equal to age. I define it actually. So this is what I defined. What is actually I'm trying to see, this is what actually this is, I'm trying to define its instances. instance of the attribute, instance of its attributes. That is what it is, how you are going to define it. So go back and see attributes I told. How, what is it like a name, color, breed, whatever it may be. Just I'm taking one or two, that's it. One or two I'm trying to define. So instance of that particular attribute. So now what I will do, I will look into its class, say what it is actually, what it is behavior, whether the crow is of a particular height, and whether a crow is of it's a small or big. Okay, whether the crow is small or big, so or it's of a particular age. Okay, now the moment if I give that, what maybe I'm trying to give the different names of it. So let me call it as some Pinky and some kind of a maybe Tom and Jerry, whatever, some kind of a name I'm giving to the crowd. Okay, so let me call it instance initiate. So I'm trying to instantiate the crow class. So that's what I'm trying to do. So instantiate the bird, that is the crow class is what I'm trying to do. Now I'm going to give a name for it. So let me give a name. So let me call it as some. So let me call it as some G. So let me call it as, what is it actually? I have to give some name actually. So fo. Let me give it as some fo. FOA. So fo is equal to crow. Okay, crow. Maybe something I'm trying to give. So it is how many, what is its age? So its age, let me call it as 2 years. Something I'm giving an example. So I have one more crow. I have one more crow. Let me call it as bow. Okay. Simply I'm giving it actually. So this is of a crow class with bow. Okay, this may be of 4 years. Just I'm taking 2. So I'm trying to initiate this crow class here. Now I need to print it. Okay, what I need to print actually, I need to print this. So I need to clearly tell this, what is it actually, what is this form, what is this bow. Okay, now if I try to print it, print your fowl is dash age of what class. Okay, if you look at the class and species, see already I have defined the species as the bird. Okay, so now what should be this particular thing? When I try to print an output, it should clearly tell that. Let me define that actually, then you will be able to. If I try to print it, print, okay, print it, simply I'll give one example. So for it's a so as yeah, within the flower bracket I'm trying to show this. What is it actually? It has to clearly show what is for everything. Okay, what is the thing, everything it has to show. Okay, so it has to show. So I'll use some kind of a format operation. So here, so format class here, then it will show it is FOA4, that is the name what I given. Then it will take the class of what is the thing I have given, it is the species. It is a dot on either side, it has a particular meaning. So then close the bracket. What does this particular code will do? Okay, what does this code will do? This code will tell, see, now what does it do actually? Now if I try to get an output for this, only for this particular print command, what will be your output? Your output will be something like, fo is a bird. See, what is it taking? It's going to take the species. Look at this. It's going to take the species because I have defined this. I don't want to repeat. Why this particular thing I have given, why I have asked this actually? See, all the crow class, it should be able to give this as a bird. And now you are getting why I am defining this class and object. See, once you define this species as a bird, all my birds, whether it's a crow, a parrot, or maybe you are some kind of a chickoo or whatever may be the birds, all the things they falls into this species bird. I can define it, the species of bird. Now, if I try to look into this particular thing, what it is actually. Now, if I try to do the same thing, fowl is a bird, I'm going to get it. So it will look in for the species here, it will look into species here, and it will give an output. Similarly, if I try to do the same thing, see, if I try to do the same thing, instead of fowl, if I put bow as a one more print here, a command, so I'm going to get bow is also a bird. Okay, if I try to print it, say for example, instead of this particular thing, I will put it as bow is also a. Then your output will be something like this. Bow is also a bird. What it is showing actually? See what we have done. Let me try to understand this. What exactly I have done this code? In the above program, what I have done, I have created a class. I have created a class with the name crow. Okay, I have created a class with the name crow. Then we have tried to define the attributes. What is the attribute? It is the characteristic of that particular object. What are these your attributes? See, inside that particular thing, if I trying to use this init actually, inside this I am trying to use it. Look at this. So what are the thing actually? It is trying to create an object in that particular thing. I am trying to initialize that particular thing. So it may be first run or second run, whatever it may be. So I am trying to create an object. So I am trying to create an object. Now, then what we try to do, we try to create how many instances. So there are two instances. One is your foe, other one is bow. So what are this actually? They are some kind of a reference. See, what is this? If you closely observe, they are simply referencing. I'm trying to give a name and trying to reference it. Those are, see, reference with the new objects. See, referencing with respect to new objects. Foe is one particular thing and bow is one more thing. Okay, then we are trying to use the class species, say class dot species. So I'm trying to use the class attributes. Okay, then I'm going to call that particular name. See, what is the name actually? See, foe dot name. It will be something like foe dot name, and then bow dot age. If you want to, I can add one more thing. If I want to check the age also, see, this I am not used actually. See, this particular thing, I only have name. I'm trying to give an example. That's it. If we had put actually one more sentence, print foe is of so many. See, if I want to print it actually, then this thing would have been something different like this. So if I want to print the age, print. So if I want actually, maybe I can put it format. This is so within your this thing is. I'm just checking for the age. So many years. I can do that. So many years. Then I need to put that format. Okay. Format. So what I need to do actually it is foe dot name, because from the species, then foe dot age. What is that actually? It's going to take this and put it over here. Take this and put it over here. Okay, so here what is this actually? Here the species is taken here and put it over here. So that's how your particular class comes in. So print foe is, so what will be my output? My output will be foe is how many years actually? Defined as 2 years. So foe is 2 years. So if I put bow actually, then this would have been bow dot name, bow dot age. Then my output would have been bow is 4 years. Okay, now see see, we have see what is the first thing actually in object-oriented programming? We have to create a class. First step. First step, we are trying to create a class, then define the attributes of it, so that it is characterizes the object. Once you have that particular object, then you can refer to n number of new variables or new objects what you are trying to do. So here I'm trying to show Fo and Bo. In a similar way, you can name something else, some name. Say for example, you are trying to define with respect to a person. So first you define maybe a human being is Homo sapiens, species is Homo sapiens. Then I can define Arjun based on his name, class, name, height, all those things. Then maybe some kind of a maybe Chittaranjan, some kind of a name. What are those actually? They are all your new objects which are referring to your originally defined class. So if you're able to do this regularly, this is the way of defining your object-oriented programming. Now, the same thing, if we have something called as class methods. Okay, so what is it? The class methods means I'm going to have a particular function. So inside your body class, inside your class body, I will define a function to define its behavior. See, the first one was only a class with respect to only attributes. Now, based on behavior. So, behavior means actually, so this particular person is good at singing. This particular person is good at dancing. Okay. So, you want to do such maybe data analyzing and all, you can use this particular class methods. Okay. So, we look into the class methods, the next class. So, now we'll take up for some discussion. I know that it's difficult to